to move people towards the area who really aren't under attack. All they are is they're looking for a better life, making more money someplace else, with not any regard to trying to help that area they go into.
Right.
They want to send it all away and just take what they can.
Right.
And they're thinking this is a
They're
land
helping.
of too much, surplus. There's plenty for everybody. They keep saying, well, who's going to pay for it? Oh, we don't worry about that. And this is what power does. Power corrupts. And so these people are in there. And, Catholic Charities does good stuff. Western Charities does good stuff. But they also did a lot of bad stuff. And they won't admit to it.
All right.
And this is part of the problem that we're at right now, is that, we need to, call balls and strikes a little bit more than try to say, well, that's not nice. You can't say that. Well, these are things that need to be said.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark Taylor, all roads lead to Rome. And
let's talk about Mark Taylor a little bit.
Let me correct it. It was on February 27th of 2018 that he did this.
Okay.
It's a prophecy. Here's what he says.
This is in 2018.
2018. Okay. Mark says, the Spirit of God says, I think this was either next to the last, or it may have been his last prophecy. I've not been on his website. He says, quote, the Pope, Jesus says, quote, the Pope and the Vatican, that's right, the Pope and the Vatican are not furthering my kingdom, but are aiding the kingdom of darkness. Many are saying that this is the last Pope, but it's not for the reasons they think. This will be the last Pope, for I, the Lord God, am about to do. So I believe at this time we're talking about Pope Francis as being in charge. He says, I will expose this Pope and those under his command for all of the corruption he and the Vatican have been involved in for centuries.
Yeah, this isn't new.
Is it?
No, it's not new. This has been a problem of the culture that has been going on for centuries. And it's been talked about, but everyone's always, whenever something bad comes along, what they do is they wait for all the principles to die. And then they come back and say, oh, it was terrible what they used to do.
Right.
But then they're still doing it.
Right.
Just in a different way, with a different set of language rules assigned to it. But they're still doing the same thing, moving people around, using the people as a collection plate, and this economic slavery that's gone on. And so the government and the churches have all gotten together into this unholy kind of liaison.
Yep.
And they're both dirty.
Yep.
With it, but neither one can get out from the other's shadow. It's almost impossible without a complete restructuring and shutting down of things. It's too far gone.
That's right. The Spirit of God says there is a shaking and quaking coming to this Pope and the Vatican. For I will split the Vatican and its leadership wide open for the entire world to see the inner workings of this ancient beast. This Pope, the Vatican, and all their leadership will come crumbling down. I will pull back the veil to show how deep and dark the deception has been. This is earth-shattering.
Oh, yeah. Well,
but we've been talking about it.
We've been talking about it. You got crap going on like up in Minneapolis. Okay, you got this dysfunctional mother raising this dysfunctional kid, in a dysfunctional environment all the way around, in a parish and other churches up there that flaunt the pride flag, this tribalism of allowing and endorsing this kind of mania.
So this is what he's talking about.
Yeah. But you got guys up there like Bishop Robert Barron. He's the head guy up there, the head monkey in charge of all the bananas, and the guy, he does this podcast, talk about, virtue and all like that. Well, buddy, fix your own damn shop. You got the crazies there. You're endorsing this. Stop it.
And the church does nothing to correct them.
Well, no, they all make like they're the best thing since sliced bread. But they're the thing that's tearing down the foundations of this. What they try saying, oh, we're bringing Jesus into the hearts of, well, you're bringing Jesus into the hearts of many people who actually need some mental health taken care of.
That's right.
And it's not just the trans.
That's right.
But you got a lot of the Karens who are, and the feminazis who are taking over. It's not the men that are standing up. The fem men, aren't standing up either. They're just all sitting back and waiting for, the shoe or the discipline to pass, so that hopefully they don't get smacked. Oh, don't look at me.
Right. Go along, get along.
Right.
And be under the radar.
Men, you got to stand up. The fem men, you got to set them down. These are the people you got to walk away from, because it's not natural, it's not healthy, and
what was Charlie's,
it's not pure.
What was Charlie's take on that of men being men?
They're not men. They have a mental issue that's going on with reality.
So was he presenting that the men need to be morally?
Men need to stand up and be men and lead their families and protect their families and do virtuous things. You need to look for that which is truthful and beautiful in the world and extol that.
Okay.
These things that aren't truthful, that are ugly, you need to walk away from them. And that's what they need to do. What has transgenderism brought to the world that's been beautiful?
No, it's misery. And for those that have participated, they say a lot of misery when they wake up down the road.
And none of it's truthful. And this is what they live in. They live in this, set of cement shoes that are basically lies that are holding them down.
You're homicidal, suicidal.
They can't get out of it.
Right. And then you think you're betrayed.
Because once one lie is about to be uncovered, they have to put in another lie to cover it up.
And then
so
rage comes
and then
in.
they wonder why this emotional burst happens.
Right.
And then they want to, kill everyone around them and themselves.
And the institutions are not addressing it, so they go to them for perhaps some direction and correction, and all they get is, you're fine. You can, you're a boy, but you can be a girl. So that even then they go to.
We're going to love you as a girl, But no, we're going to try to fix you so you're back to being a boy again, and let you understand what it means.
Yeah.
And try to help you through this. I mean, we have problems with definitions, we have problems with boundaries, and we have problems with reality in these things. And people are trying to make.
So what should we expect when we have that kind of chaos?
Well, you're going to have more chaos and more deflection and more gaslighting going on. So anytime something comes up, they want to deflect it onto you, that you're the problem. It's like the one guy on MSNBC, that dumbass Michael Dowd, he gets fired for saying that Charlie Kirk basically did this to himself. No, Charlie Kirk invited reasoned thinking. I mean, this is the kind of guy that they need more of, who bring truth to the campfire, and tries to get these tribal people to understand, that, this tribe over here is doing things with, dolls that we don't quite understand. Let's find out why they're doing it with dolls this way. What are they doing? And then try to understand that, but then say, this is not normal. This is not natural. You got to stop that. But it's just nut job city that's going on. But he tried to bring, civility to the discussion.
Right.
That he got killed for because they didn't like his words.
He was dangerous. He was dangerous to the
truth was dangerous to these people.
And that's actually what was believe me, the devil earmarked him, because he was getting to the youth, and that's why everybody was mesmerized by him. Is how do you do that? What is he doing to get people to get energetic, in a way of thinking clearly? And he was like a prophet, a ministry of intervening in the confusion and then bringing many people back to reason.
Right. Cut through the garbage. Let's get back to the foundation here, because they built so much has been based on garbage. And Charlie didn't accept the garbage. He stood up for it.
Yeah.
But the man, he was prepared to die. He knew that he was a target. He was getting death threats,
Was
daily.
he getting death threats daily?
Always. I mean, he was getting death threats back when he was 23.
What do you think is going to happen to the movement now that he's not here in the flesh? His movement, is it going to go forward?
Oh, he's not here in the flesh, but he's here in the electronic media. He did so much programming, and he did so much content.
Okay.
Is out there.
Yeah, you were right about that.
And there's nothing is going to change that, because he stood on the truth. He stood on the facts. He stood on the things that were beautiful.
You're right. I didn't think of that.
Those things endure. Those are things that are the elements of wisdom.
You said many times this is going to be a big game breaker.
Right.
Is it because you can get? He did a lot of. I used to watch him, and even recently watched him until this tragedy came. But you're right, that material's out there.
Oh yeah, and it'll be, like I said, he will have more impact on the human race than Martin Luther King.
Absolutely, no doubt about it.
And a lot of people say, "Oh, you can't say Martin Luther King." Well, Martin Luther King was important to a lot of people. He was very, very troubled, and a lot of people don't realize that he had a lot of bad things.
Logically based, he used it more in terms of his political and his way of getting people, in large numbers and stuff. But in terms of really getting to the soul, Charlie, there's no doubt about it, would be considered one of the great, evangelists, really, of the 21st century.
I had friends who said he used to attend Catholic Mass on an occasional basis, but as of recently, he hadn't been. He was very much, I think, disappointed, not with the Catholic faith, but with the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
And he saw the same things we've been talking about here, is that, this is not right. And this is not what Jesus asked for.
Absolutely.
And directed us to do. And this is where we say that I don't care if you're a Methodist, if you're a Lutheran, if you go to a non-aligned church or whatever, or you go to the first, Baptist church, the Second Baptist church, the Fifth Baptist church, I really don't care.
Right.
I just want to know, like Jesus would say, what have you done for me lately?
No, absolutely right. Yeah. Put yourself on.
You're a sinner yesterday, today's another chance. Yeah. Can you try to do better for me today, type of thing. So we'll have to see what happens on that. Oh, we can't be judgmental of people.
Yeah,
you can. It's
use
called
good judgment.
It's called preservation.
Right. We use good judgment. You can see what they offer.
It's like saying we shouldn't look both ways when crossing the street.
Absolutely.
If God wants us to get across, He'll make sure we get there. That isn't how God designed us. Okay, right. We need to use our senses.
Look both ways.
Right, and we need to act accordingly when things are happening. So, anything more from Mark Taylor?
Well, go ahead, wrap it. Okay. Well, they're not looking for precision. They're looking.
Well, I'm trying to make a flow here. I'm trying to see if there's a.
I fucked it up. It's all right. Go ahead and do it. Yeah, it's funny as fuck. Yeah. Okay.
Well, no, I'm just trying to say.
I know what you're trying to do, so go ahead and do it.
Well, don't get angry.
I'm not. I'm just saying that, tie it up the way you want to.
Well, I'm trying to. What else was there from Mark Taylor? I didn't know if you were at the end of the Mark Taylor stuff.
Well, I mean, there's other things that he's saying. We can. This exposure will be such magnitude that the people will say, "What do we do now? Where do we go now? We want nothing to do with this." In other words, where do we go? We have no religion now. He's talking about. The universal religion, Roman Catholicism. Millions will walk away from their religion, as this will affect other religions as well. So they all look at the Roman Church. And then the Spirit of God says, "Is my army ready? Are you ready to receive these people? Are you ready to receive my harvest that's going to take place from this exposure?" Prepare yourselves for the tsunami of people that will be starving. And you talked about this, that will be starving for me and have no place to turn. Prepare now, all roads lead to Rome. The Spirit of God says this is a dig, an archaeological find that is coming in an underground vault, which will be the catalyst that it will rock the Christian world.
I'm a little questioning of all roads lead to Rome when he's saying that, but he's also saying that the Rome and the church have been so, incapable or incompetent, if you will. So is he saying that Rome is like this metaphor?
Rome affects all religions. The Protestant look at Rome and what they're doing.
Well, the Catholic Church has always been kind of like the gold standard of meaning, but it's not so much anymore. We talked about this before. It used to be when a world event would happen, everyone would look to the Vatican for a response, for the Pope to make a statement, and for the President of the United States to make a statement.
Absolutely right.
They're not doing it anymore.
No.
They haven't done it for nearly a quarter century.
Correct. So the confusion of the Christians.
So I'm asking, with this Rome reference, what is Mark Taylor meaning by that?
I think he means that Rome is an epicenter. It's the religion that started with St. Peter, regardless of its its a report card. Now Rome's fall will affect the Christian community, that they're saying, where do we go?
Well, when the Vatican and the Catholics in general don't stand up for these things that are basic truths.
Right.
Okay. And they say, well, this is normal for him, so we have to love him as no, we need to fix the aberrant one.
Yeah. And I think the confusion when Rome falls, and of course the Protestants are involved in this kind of a thing too, that many Christians will question their faith.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you have a major breach that, with the loss of faith, eventually would lead to the loss of souls, because...
Is that going to be because they're going to feel there's a loss of true leadership?
Yeah. A lot of them, because of the things that we talk about, I think a lot of the people look at us as being goofy. And they're saying, well...
That's just the family.
but they're saying... Well, how can you not like Pope Leo, or Pope Francis is so friendly? And you're thinking, well, we'd like to like them, but there's things about them that people have revealed, but you have to look at that, and you have to look at what they've done, and it's very, very disturbing. Most people don't want to be disturbed by that. They don't even spend like 10 seconds listening to you. It's like my son said, Dad, what do you think of Pope Leo? And I had to tell him, Rock, it's a problem. He's a problem. He looks friendly and, like Mr. Green Jeans, but...
Are we going to have the Captain Kangaroo talk again?
No. But at any rate, I think that's the darkness that we're still in. I think in this George Washington thing, we're surrounded by this darkness. And Charlie was a beacon of light. Charlie was a burst of...
Well, for a lot of people, he was also a threat, because he cast that light, and it got through the shadows, and it revealed the truth about things that they didn't want to admit.
And young people were...
And they still don't want to talk about.
Right.
And they're still going to be denying today. And there's people that are celebrating the fact that he was murdered, and this is... They're still celebrating this Mangione guy who killed the CEO of United Healthcare.
Right.
What the hell is going on there? There's a lot of, I've seen on Catholic discussion boards, they're calling the kid a hero. I got to tell you, folks, he is not a hero.
Right. It's crazy.
He's a demented son of a bitch who probably needs the death penalty.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry, but sometimes you basically forfeit your right to live. And I don't think that's taking things too far.
Well, they took him out. He had kids. Took Charlie out. He had children, wife, nice.
Well, and they don't care. They'll take you out. They'll take me out. They'll take you out. They don't care because you're the problem.
Yeah. It's going to get worse before it gets better.
How many times do people need to make these revelations? And these are basically things I think that most people who are of sound mind can agree to. But then to have this dysfunctional section of our society
it's unbelievable.
Is trying to tell you how it has to be.
Never before in the history of the world has this kind of confusion come with a technologically superior society and and having read all the great artworks and in volumes, never before has there been a confusion about.
Well, and AI is not going to make that any easier now, will it? Because the AI is going to turn people into basically stupefied, participants. You're not going to know what to think until you go check your phone and tell you what to think.
And that's where the problem comes in.
And that's where the problem is heading to. And that's what they want you to, submit yourselves to. And this is one of the things that the Charlie Kirks tried to talk against, was to use your brain, read a book, get out there and do some things.
That's right.
And try to make a difference and be an informed user of these informational systems. And that was a part of what Charlie Kirk was trying to do. So anyway, we're not going to get through it all here in one particular podcast, but the next segment we have coming up, I think, is going to be very, very interesting too. But in the meantime, I think with everything we have going on with the Angel of America and with the coming together of all these different demonic influences that are going, I don't think we can really explain them away as being anything else but demonic, because these are things that are just not natural. They go against the truth. They go against the beauty that God has created. And this is not the way I think Jesus asked for us to remember him and to do this in memory of me types of things.
No.
We are so far from it. We need to take some discipline, understand that it's for our own good, and try to fix this thing before it's far too late. So in the meantime, we love you, and we'll be back.